So I'm just anxiously attached, and my partner is an avoidant in the relationship. Here's the thing, most people think that inconsistency in their relationship is because they haven't healed enough. But I'm going to break that down and maybe tell you why that's not necessarily true. So, long before we could choose how to love, our bodies learned how connection works. And our bodies learned this before we even had language or cognitive thinking ability to know what we were learning. So, some children learn really early in life that connection comes through attunement. That's noticing moods, it's picking up on tone and volume of voice and body language. These children are going to adapt really quickly. They're going to become really helpful. They're going to be really agreeable. And they're going to be really highly emotionally available. Not because they are naturally selfless, but because giving attunement kept connection intact. Giving became how love stayed, it became how tension softened, and giving became how closeness felt earned. If I give, I earn closeness. I stay in proximity to you. So, as adults, the pattern of giving in relationship to receive connection is going to feel really, really familiar. Receiving, on the other hand, for this person who learned this in childhood, is going to feel pretty uncomfortable. It might even feel unnecessary. And for some of us, it might even feel unsafe. Like I can't just receive connection and love. Not because they don't deserve connection, love, and care, but because their system, before words and before cognition, learned if I give, I am safe. Now, other children learn something completely different on the other end of the spectrum. They may have been overwhelmed by emotion. There may have been some unpredictability. They were maybe expected to emotionally hold more than they were capable of. And they often maybe needed space from that environment, from that type of connection, to regulate, to feel like they can catch their breath. So, closeness at some point for some of these people really started to feel intrusive and invasive and really just simply overwhelming. Closeness was demanding, it was too much, and distance became their way of relief and regulation. So, as adults, receiving emotional closeness can trigger that feeling of pressure and obligation or fear of losing autonomy, fear of losing my sense of self. It's not that it is rejection, it is a way that these folks learned how to regulate and feel okay in their body. Their body learned if I create space, I can breathe, and things will be okay. They want to receive in relationships, but very slowly paced. They don't want to feel overwhelmed, and they don't want to feel lost in relationship. So, why do these two people find each other? That is the conundrum of relationships. Don't worry, I'm going to get to it right here. So, here's the quiet truth: givers feel familiar to receivers. It is a familiar pattern, whether we have words for it or not. It is a felt sense in your body and your nervous system. And here's the flip side is that receivers are going to feel familiar to givers. One offers closeness and the other manages intensity. So at first it can feel really complimentary, maybe it even feels exciting and you don't have words for it other than thinking, oh, we have great chemistry. It might feel balanced. It's probably going to feel familiar whether you admit that to yourself or not. It might be really comforting until the nervous systems start asking for more security and stability and emotional connection, then this relationship dynamic can actually hold and support long term. So, what changes this? What do we do? Growth doesn't mean switching roles, and it doesn't mean giving up any positive traits of being a giver or a receiver, the way you manage connection in relationships. It means learning what you were never taught. It means learning how to lean into your own edges and work on those parts of you. So, how do I give without disappearing? And how do I give without putting sort of too much of a burden on the other person and not taking responsibility for myself? And how do I receive without feeling trapped? And how do I move a little bit closer and increase my capacity for closeness without feeling like I've completely lost myself or having that knee-jerk reaction of completely avoiding and backing off? So it's like, how do I stay present in this relationship, whether I'm the giver or the receiver, when these reflexes get triggered? Like one person is moving closer and the other person hits that timeout button. So it's not about fixing yourself, it's about expanding your capacity for the space in between connection where both people are asked to regulate themselves. So, how you learned to connect made sense at one point in time, and it probably worked for you at one point in time. But we all sort of seem to forget that we can change, we can learn, we can grow, and we can go into connection and relationships with more awareness, and we can increase our capacity. So, I'm Chrissy, the emotional intelligence nurse. This was part 2 to the inconsistency in relationships. If you found this helpful, that's wonderful. I would love for you to put a comment down below. What are you taking away from this conversation? What can you add to this conversation? What is something that stood out to you? Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to follow along for more emotional intelligence content just like this. I'll see you around.